In this video, we talk about manipulation. Too often people manipulate us and we don't even realize it, but why does this happen? I'll explain it by sharing the thoughts and reflections of one of the sharpest authors of the century, Robert Greene. Think about when you're looking someone in the eyes while they're talking to you, but you're not really listening. You nod, you say something, but in your head, you're already thinking about what you're going to reply. Or worse, you're thinking about that email you need to send, that appointment you have to move, the fact that you forgot to buy milk. And while you're closed off in your own world, the other person is reading you like an open book. They're noticing how you stiffen when certain topics come up. They see how your eyes light up when they touch on a particular subject. They're gathering information about you while you're gathering nothing about them. This is the first reason why they keep manipulating you. You're not paying attention. This is exactly the conclusion Robert Greene came to. We spend our lives being manipulated because we're too busy thinking about ourselves to notice what's actually happening. Think about it for a moment. In the last important conversation you had, what percentage of the time were you truly present? And how much of it were you instead in your head, judging, planning your response, worrying about how you were coming across? That is exactly the problem. Greene says something striking. People are not observant. They live in a shell. They do not see. Think about how radical this statement is. He's not saying we're a little distracted or that we could improve. He's saying that fundamentally, we do not see the person in front of us. We see projections, fantasies, distorted versions filtered through our needs and our fears. The person in front of you is constantly sending signals about their values, their aversions, what makes them feel vulnerable, or what truly excites them. But you miss all of it. Why? Because you're too busy sending your own signals, hoping to appear intelligent, interesting, or competent. It's absurd. Two people talking without listening, each worried about how they are being perceived by the other, neither actually perceiving the other. So who wins this game? The one who learns to step out of the shell. The one who learns to shut off that obsessive inner monologue and truly look. Greene is obsessed with nonverbal communication, and he's right to be. During a conversation, if you keep it fluid and open, people's eyes light up when a certain topic is touched. Their entire body language changes. They relax. They open up. It's as if a door suddenly swings open. Greene often gives a personal example. He says that if you ask him about the Lakers, he gets immediately excited. Basketball and that team are one of his deep passions. His entire way of being changes when he talks about it. Now, if you were in front of Greene and you wanted to create a real connection with him, understand what motivates him, influence him in some way, that would be golden information. But would you catch it? Or would you be too busy talking about yourself? The difference between a genuine smile and a fake one is visible. A real smile lights up the whole face. It changes how the eyes look. But how often do you really notice? How often do you observe whether the person in front of you is smiling out of politeness or out of real joy? Probably never, because you're not watching. You're just waiting for your turn to speak. Greene acknowledges that it's not just a matter of selfishness or superficiality. There's a deeper reason why we're always folded in on ourselves. We live in a world that bombards us. Information everywhere. The phone vibrating every 2 minutes. News, crises, problems. It's a competitive, difficult world that constantly demands our attention. So naturally, we close in on ourselves. Naturally, we think about our problems, our anxieties, what we have to do next. You're there talking to someone, and in your head, I need to move that appointment tomorrow. Or, how am I coming across? Do they think I'm stupid? It's natural. It's human. But it's also exactly what makes you vulnerable. Because while you're busy worrying about how you appear, the person in front of you might not be worrying about that at all. They might instead be studying you, understanding what triggers you, what makes you defensive, what makes you open up. The central point of all of Greene's work is this: get outside yourself and find other people more interesting than yourself. This is the key to influence. This is the key to power in human relationships. It's not manipulation in the dirty sense of the word. It's simply understanding how people really work instead of living in your bubble. But there's another, even deeper level. Greene argues something that sounds almost mystical but is deeply rooted in our evolution. We are social animals who are extremely vulnerable to the moods of others. Before language existed, our ancestors had to understand the moods of the people in the group. It was a matter of survival, and that ability is still inside us. We are emotional sponges. Think about your own experience. Someone comes to you depressed, and suddenly you feel your energy drop. It's not just empathy, it's emotional contagion. It's physical. Greene says, out of 10 people you meet in life, there's always one who makes you feel happy the moment you see them. You smile, you laugh, your mood changes. And there's one who drains you every time. You feel tired after seeing them. Why? It's not the words they say, it's something deeper. It's the energy they transmit. You can persuade people far more by infecting them with your mood than with your words. Words are not necessarily the best means of influence. Who you are, how you show up. The energy you radiate matters infinitely more than what you say. Greene talks about Errol Flynn. Women wrote that being around him was like having drunk 3 martinis. He was so relaxed, so comfortable with himself. He had an authentic animal spirit, and being near him, you felt all your resistance and defenses melt away. It wasn't what he said, it was what he was. This is the level Greene invites you to play at. Not learning clever lines or sales techniques, but fundamentally changing how you show up in the world. Greene is a big advocate of small steps. You don't turn into Bill Clinton overnight. You don't suddenly become a great listener. But you can do small daily experiments. Here's his concrete suggestion. Take someone you normally find boring. That person you have lunch with out of obligation. The one you make small talk with out of politeness. For 10 minutes, shut off your inner monologue. Force yourself to really listen. Try to discover something about their character that you've never understood before. Ask them about their childhood, not like an interrogation, but with genuine, relaxed interest. Try to discover what deeply motivates them, or some traumatic experience they've had. Watch when their eyes light up. Notice when their entire body language changes because you've touched something that truly matters to them. It's an exercise. Like going to the gym, at first it feels hard, unnatural, but day after day, you build that muscle. You get better at stepping outside yourself. And when you do, suddenly people start responding to you differently. Not because you learned some trick, but because you're finally seeing them. But Greene teaches us to go even deeper. He says that every human being has what he calls a self-opinion, a way they see themselves. And there are 3 universals that practically everyone shares. First, we all think we're autonomous. When we make a decision, we weren't manipulated. We did it ourselves. We're independent. Second, we think we're intelligent. That doesn't mean feeling like an intellectual. A plumber thinks he knows plumbing better than anyone else, and that makes him feel intelligent in his own way. Third, we think we're good people, that we treat others well. Now, none of this may be true, but we all tend to believe it. And here's the crucial part. If someone challenges this opinion you have of yourself, if they make you feel stupid or manipulated or not as good as you think, you suddenly become defensive. You shut down. And nothing that person says or does will change it. It can turn into hatred or bitter resentment. This happens constantly. In online arguments, in relationships, at work. Someone says something that touches your self-perception and you snap. It's not rational, it's automatic. But now, flip the perspective. If you understand this mechanism, you have enormous power. The number one need that human beings have, remember this, is to feel validated by others. William James, the great psychologist, said it. People want to feel recognized and validated. We can feel good about ourselves, but if we don't receive that validation from others, it's hard to sustain it. We are all constantly seeking that validation. If you're able to give people some of that validation, if you can feed their self-opinion without being an obvious flatterer, their defenses suddenly drop, and you have room to maneuver them, persuade them, and influence them. But be careful. If you flatter someone and it's clear you want something, you've already violated their self-opinion. Because it's obvious you think they're someone who can be manipulated. You're telling them, "You're not as independent as you think. I can fool you." And that doesn't work. Also, if you flatter someone for something everyone else flatters them for, it's too obvious. You have to find the qualities no one is flattering them for, but that they feel insecure about. But to get there, you have to understand people. You have to see who they really are. Greene gives a brilliant example. Sometimes a person is very Machiavellian, in the sense of being strategically clever. If you flatter them for that, thinking you're being smart, you actually insult them, because they don't want to see themselves as Machiavellian. They think they're doing these things for a good cause, for good reasons. You have to find another path. Wow, you won that election because you're going to do great things with that power. You flatter their values, their sense of goodness. It's essentially reverse psychology. Greene tells the story of a student expelled from school for not studying enough and dealing drugs. The teacher tells him he'll have to do all that work at home to graduate, but he can't stay in school. The kid thinks, "Screw it, I'm not studying at all. I'm a slacker." But the mother goes to a psychologist who teaches her reverse psychology. He tells her, "Look, if you try to make him study, you'll only make it worse. Try this approach. Tell him the teacher wants him to fail. He gave him all that work knowing he wouldn't succeed because he knows you're a slacker. And if you could prove him wrong, imagine how good it would feel to make him look stupid. If you study hard and actually graduate, you'll make him look like an idiot." And it worked. Why? Because instead of going against his rebellious nature, it worked with it. It used his identity, "I'm a rebel," to motivate him to do exactly what was wanted. This is the level of understanding of human nature Greene is talking about. It's not dirty manipulation. It's understanding how people really work and working with their nature instead of against it. All of this may sound complex, but it really comes down to one thing: awareness. Awareness of yourself, of your weaknesses, of when you're in your shell, of when you're not really listening, and awareness of others, of what truly motivates them, of when their eyes light up, of when they shut down. Greene himself says the central point of his work is this: know who you are, know your weaknesses, know what truly motivates you, because it's your self-awareness that allows you to change. And the most unsettling part? It's that right now someone is probably manipulating you, not necessarily in a malicious way, but simply because they understand these dynamics and you don't. They're validating you where you're insecure. They're making you feel autonomous while guiding you where they want. They're infecting you with their mood while you think you're making rational decisions. And you don't notice it because you're too busy thinking about yourself. The real question is, do you want to keep living like this? Or do you want to wake up? This isn't one of those videos where I tell you everything can be fixed with a simple trick. Greene doesn't offer shortcuts. He offers awareness. And awareness requires work. But the work is worth it. Because once you start truly seeing people, once you step out of your shell, everything changes. Your relationships become deeper. Your conversations richer. Your ability to influence and persuade becomes infinitely more powerful. Not because you're using tricks, but because you're finally playing the real game instead of the imaginary one in your head. So here's my invitation to you today. Choose one conversation, just one. And for that conversation, do Greene's experiment. Turn off the inner monologue. Truly observe. Look for the moment when the other person's eyes light up. Discover what makes them feel vulnerable or excited, and then notice what happens. Notice how the dynamic changes when you're finally present. Let me know in the comments how it goes when you try it. And if you've made it this far and enjoyed the video, I ask you to subscribe to the channel to support my work. See you next time.